Live in Western Oregon, this is NBC 16 News at 6:30.
As fire season blazes forward, a brush fire at Mount Pisgah continues to burn. Thanks for joining us on NBC 16 News at 6:30. I'm Alexis Thrower. The brush fire at Mount Pisgah, just southeast of Eugene, has burned at least 50 acres. NBC 16's Kelsey Christensen joins us live at the fire. Kelsey, what's it like out there?
Hey Alexis, well, it's not too bad right now. It's a lot less smoky than it was about an hour ago. I'm going to give you a look behind me. It kind of looks almost clear skies, of course, not just yet, but again, a lot less smoky. Now I have some updates for you. So as for the park, all trails are going to be closed going into the weekend. That's so firefighters can mop up the fire, whether that, goes into further today or into the weekend. Now, I just spoke with Lane County officials who tell me wireless notifications were sent out just to let any hikers in the area know that they had to evacuate through the main entrance. So this is a great reminder. If you had any friends or family that went out to hike there today, just give them a call or a text and just make sure that they made it out okay. Now, as for the farms just outside of the park, there's no evacuation for those as of yet. ODF and Douglas Forest Protective Association are responding to the fire. Now, they don't know the cause of it just yet, but it's going to be a very aggressive attack as this is a grassy and timber-rich area. Last that we heard, there are 3 helicopters working the fire, 1 large air tanker, and of course a lot of people here on the ground, about 85 to 100 people working this fire. And we met one bystander earlier today who's a little concerned about his home.
We live right where that smoke is, where they're pulling the water out of the Willamette River. That's our farm. And so we heard these helicopters going, and we called up the fire department.
ODOT tells me that Highway 58, which is near the fire, will remain open, but just reminds drivers to slow down and look out for any first responders. And we will be sure to keep you updated with any information as it comes. Back to you, Alexis.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Kelsey. I really appreciate it. Now, authorities in Gibraltar have released that Iranian tanker seized by British forces over a month ago. Before its release, the U.S. moved to take control of the Grace 1 after European Union sanctions that allowed the ship's seizure were ending. The court delayed its decision after the U.S. request, but later a lawyer in Gibraltar's High Court today said the court released the Iranian tanker.
And as it is no longer such a specified ship, there is no cause for its arrest, and therefore the arrest has lapsed immediately.
The tanker carrying over 2 million barrels of Iranian crude was taken into custody by British Marines July 4th. The British said the tanker was on its way to Syria and violated EU sanctions. Iran's foreign minister said the U.S. was trying to steal Iranian property, but failed. Gibraltar is a British territory linked by a narrow stretch of land to southern Spain. In an apparent unprecedented action, Israel has barred 2 Democratic congresswomen from entering the country. Israel's move comes after President Trump tweeted that Israel would show weakness if it allowed the 2 outspoken critics of Israel to enter the country. In a written statement, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Israel is open to all visitors and all criticism, but will bar entry to the 2 congresswomen over the support for boycotts. Senate Democrat Chuck Schumer says Israel's decision to block Representatives Ilhan Omar of Minnesota and Rashida Tlaib of Michigan, who are Muslim, was a sign of weakness instead of strength. Tlaib's uncle in the West Bank said it's an unjust, racist decision. The general secretary of a Palestinian group said the move by Israel shows they're afraid of what the 2 congresswomen will say during their visit. On to a first look at weather. NBC 16 meteorologist Josh Kozart joins us now in the Weather Center. Josh, how are the current weather conditions impacting the Mount Pisgah fire?
Well, there's some improvements because we did see some breezier conditions earlier in the day, which were really kind of helping fan those flames to make them grow quicker. But now those winds are slowly starting to decrease through the rest of our evening and overnight hours. But here's a live look over the Mount Pisgah area, and significantly less amount of smoke than what we saw earlier in the day. So I'll have a little time lapse for us in my full weather segment in just a few minutes in my full forecast. But there's the fire location. Winds pretty much out the north at this point in time. So if it does continue to spread, it will likely spread further off towards the south. So something we will be keeping a close eye on for. But the dry conditions remain, and that puts the ODF fire potential at a high level for eastern areas of Lane and Douglas County through the rest of the evening hours and really for the foreseeable future. But I'll have details on when we could get a break from the heat in my full forecast in just a few minutes.
Thank you so much, Josh. Eugene police are still searching for a suspect who stole a car with a 1-year-old child inside. It happened late afternoon yesterday. The car crashed, the suspect fled, and fortunately, the child was not injured. NBC 16's Stephanie Rothman has the latest on the investigation.
Neighbors say it's right around this blue home that a car was reported stolen with a baby inside. The mother was out here frantically, neighbors tell me, and that's when the investigation began.
Everybody was down here from the neighborhood.
Wednesday around 4:30 p.m., Eugene police and street crime units descended upon Langers Lane and Roosevelt Boulevard. That's when they were told a 1-year-old child had been taken.
I heard screaming outside because the mother was very distraught.
Police later determined a woman in her late teens to early 20s with brown hair and wearing a red top stole the car.
They came running from the house and jumped into their patrol car and zoomed off.
A 911 call led officers to a spot roughly 7 miles away over in South Eugene. It all ended here on Spencer Creek and Fawn Hills Road, where the suspect crashed the car right along this road before being picked up and fleeing the scene. One witness told police they saw the crash, picked up, and transported the suspect to a neighborhood on North Danabo and Royal Avenue. The baby was uninjured, but the witness did say the suspect was bleeding from her head. The investigation is still ongoing. Reporting in Eugene, I'm Stephanie Rothman.
In developing news, Patriot Prayer leader Joey Gibson tells K2 News Portland police have issued a warrant for his arrest on a charge stemming from the May Day brawl at a Northwest Portland bar.
I never did anything back, never fought back, never did anything but stand there just to show the world what was happening inside a riot. Yeah, I'm going to turn myself in today.
Okay.
We'll see what happens from there, but I mean, you know, there's no other choice. So I'm going to go in there, expose them. I'm going to fight it to the very end.
Gibson says he believes the felony riot charge is politically motivated, coming ahead of this weekend's planned protest in downtown Portland. The Multnomah County DA's office declined to comment. Gibson is among about a half dozen people now facing charges stemming from the brawl, but he says no one on the other side has been charged. Portland police say the arrests are not one-sided and some suspects have turned themselves in. Coming up next on NBC 16 News at 6:30, grocery workers may be heading for strike. We'll tell you why.
A young whale stranded on a Waldport beach. We'll tell you why experts had to make the tough decision to euthanize it.
And if you see breaking news, give us a call at 541-393-KMTR. That's 5687, or send an email to newsdesk@kmtr.com.
16 News at 6:30.
A young humpback whale was euthanized earlier today in Waldport after it had been stranded on the beach for over 24 hours. Marine experts, volunteers, and students responded to help the whale, which wildlife officials believe was born this past winter. Multiple attempts to get it back out to sea during high tide failed. Wildlife experts say that the whale's 3-ton body is not designed for these conditions. They say it could have devastating effects on its internal organs.
We're always going to do our best for these cases, and we want what's best for the animal. And so it is, you know, a very long process, and we have a lot of vet here on staff that make the decision that the best thing for the animal and the most humane procedure at this point is to euthanize it.
The whale has undergone a necropsy, which will be used for future humpback whale research. We're told the whale will be buried sometime tomorrow. Grocery workers on the South Coast could soon be out on strike. NBC 16's Lauren Negretti has a story.
Safeway and Fred Meyer employees have authorized a strike if they don't get wage increases and fill the gender gap.
All of us are meeting to talk to the employers to try to get them to understand what we're dealing with and that we can't live on those wages.
Forder is on the union bargaining team. She says employees deal with rising housing costs and everyday expenses.
Everything has gone up except our wages.
The union says women are paid less than men at Fred Meyer, with more men working overnight, heavy freight or produce jobs. A Fred Meyer representative says that's a misrepresentation.
Every associate in the same job type, whether a
woman or a man is paid equally based on their negotiated wage progressions. And these are wage progressions that were negotiated for them by the union. We don't funnel where they apply. We encourage them to apply for jobs that work best for them.
Union Representative Kelly McAllister says 2/3 of women work in those lower wage positions like deli or bakery.
They don't know that those jobs are going to be $350 to $370 to $390, depending on where you are, less in pay.
Temple says Fred Meyer has a total benefits package, competitive wages, premium health care, and generous pensions. Safeway could not be reached for comment.
Local 555's Unity Bargaining Team will meet with retail representatives from Safeway and Fred Meyer August 29th. Reporting in Coos County, I'm Lauren McGrady.
The Eugene Food Truck Festival is this weekend, but now there's a whole lot more to be excited about. It's expanded into the Wham Bam Kindle Jam at PK Park, meaning the food trucks will be joined by a whole field of activities, including zip lines, bounce houses, and human foosball. There will also be a car show. Some of the proceeds from the Food Truck Festival will help fund the Eugene Mission, which provides about 80% of emergency shelter beds in Lane County.
The proceeds from the Food Truck Fest help us serve more people and help them get out of crisis, help them navigate through different services, and help them take a path off the streets.
The events run from Saturday to Sunday. All proceeds from the car show will go to the Relief Nursery. The Ems Community Fund will also receive donations from some of the events. Entry into the Food Truck Festival is $4. All-day access to the field activities is $12, $7 if you're 12 and under, and toddlers get in for free. Turning to weather now, NBC 16 meteorologist Josh Cozart is standing by for a look at what's coming up in your full forecast. Hey, Josh.
Hey, Alexis. Well, today was another warm one across western Oregon. The Eugene-Springfield area managed to make it up to 87 degrees, but some cooler air moves in just in time for our weekend. I'll let you know the impacts that it might have on that, along with the fire concern, next.
It's the Labor Day sale at Rife's Home Furniture and Mattress. Meteorologist Josh Cozart.
Well, I hope you like the hot, sunny, and dry conditions because they're going to continue for the next couple of days, but that also continues to grow the concern for our fire threat. And this is a time lapse from the Mount Pisgah fire earlier today. You can notice that's the source of the fire, pluming all of the smoke and blowing it further to the south. However, fire conditions seem to be slightly on the better end of things, as we got a report from Kelsey earlier that the smoke has diminished in that area. So that is some good news, but the fire threat still remains a threat for a lot of us in western Oregon as these dry conditions continue across our area. But there is some cooler air. We just have to wait until we get into our weekend, and even tomorrow begins that cool down for us. But I hope you get used to the sunny skies because they're going to be sticking around for the next couple of days. Radar and satellite through the valley shows calm, quiet conditions along with the coastal areas. Nothing much to talk about in the form of weather activity as we just continue to see those dry and sunny conditions. But for the overnight lows tonight, we will be into the mid to upper 50s. We'll see a slight increase in clouds towards the coastal areas, Coos Bay, North Bend area, but out towards Roseburg and the Eugene area, mostly clear skies for our overnight tonight. But our next weather maker hangs off towards the Gulf of Alaska at this point in time, but it will be sliding its way further to the south, really kind of following along the coastal areas of British Columbia, and that's going to have some slightly cooler air. However, on our Friday, some of that cold air will be able to sneak down just a little bit into our area. However, we will still hold on to those warm conditions with temperatures into the low 80s. Then into our Saturday, you'll notice that this radar model is actually picking up just a few isolated rain showers over the Pacific Ocean. Unfortunately, that's all going to remain to our west. Those of us along the valleys and coastal areas will remain dry through our Saturday and for the foreseeable future. But with our futurecast, you can see that we will have a few more clouds than sunshine to wake up on your Friday, especially coastal areas. We will see foggy conditions to start our Friday, and then we will see those clouds and the fog really start to kind of mix out of our area, and then we will see the sunshine return, temperatures back into the low 80s, out towards the coast, temperatures into the 70s. There's those rain showers for your Saturday. They hang off further to the west, but we are going to wake up with some more clouds than sunshine for your Saturday morning, and then yet again we see plenty of sunshine come back into our forecast for Saturday. Tomorrow's high temperatures, though, through the Willamette Valley, temperatures in the low 80s, Umpqua Valley, and towards the mid 80s for our daytime highs. But boy, get used to that sunshine. It's going to be sticking around for the next 7 days or so. Maybe a few more clouds moving in on our Saturday and Sunday, and then temperatures start to warm up by the time we get into our new work week. Out towards the coast, foggy conditions for your Friday, Saturday, and Sunday morning, breezy conditions for your Friday and Saturday, and then temperatures really warming up above average as we should be right around 65 degrees for this time of year. Down towards the Umpqua Valley, sunshine in abundance for your Friday and Saturday. Temperatures in the mid 80s, and then we warm up close to 90 degrees come Monday, and then we're back into the low 90s come our Tuesday and Wednesday. So Alexis, this roller coaster ride just continues for us all across Western Oregon, from the 90s to the 80s, the sunshine. But I know that you're a sunshine lover, so
of course I'm a sunshine lover. But today the temperature was really nice. I remember making a comment when I walked out. I said, wow, it's actually nice, kind of cool day. Very pleasant day today. So
and tomorrow going to be even better.
Really? We'll see. I really like today. You know, I know some people like, hey, you know, like, the rain's here, and it's like people love the rain out here. And then, you know, they're like, oh, you know, I miss the rain. But this was like a nice balance.
We always want something that we don't have.
Right. I feel like it was that nice, cool temp that you normally would get probably like in the rain area, and then also being able to just enjoy the sunlight as well. So thank you so much, Josh. And coming up next on NBC 16 at 6:30, construction crews are entering the next phase of the Amazon Transportation Corridor. We'll have more updates on the developments when we return.
Exactly. Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance.
16 News at 6:30.
Construction crews are going at it in South Eugene in the next phase of the Amazon Transportation Corridor. This is a 3-year-long project along East and West Amazon that's expected to help walkers, bicyclists, and motorists. It's part of the Ridgeline to River Corridor. 3 new pedestrian bike bridges are being built this summer, and that bridge work is underway. A soft surface running trail is coming soon to both sides of Amazon Creek, and the project is expected to be complete by 2020. A new proposed apartment building may be taking the place of Cafe Yum on Hilliard and Broadway in Eugene. The development of the apartment building has not started yet, but the proposal was approved by the city of Eugene. The apartment building is called the Eugene Broadway Apartments for now. The proposal is for a 12-story building with 290 units. We reached out to the business office of Cafe Yum for comment today, but we have yet to hear back.
It's 7 lots over there. Cafe Yum is currently on a couple of those, and the parking lots, the rest of them. Cafe Yum, to my understanding, is going to go away if this is get approved. Yeah.
Halverson says they have already received appeal notices and public comments with reasons why the apartments should not be built. Those comments cite traffic concerns and building incompatibility with nearby apartment buildings.
Right now, we're waiting for appeal dates to get it to. One of them goes to Planning Commission and one goes to hearing official. So we're waiting to get to those meetings, preparing for those meetings.
Those appeals are scheduled to be heard at the end of this month. An online petition calling on the Eugene School Board to rescind the appointment last week of a former board member is nearing 800 signers. Tonight, NBC 16's Tom Adams gets reaction from 4J appointee Jim Torrey and his reaction to the controversy.
Former Eugene 4J and newly appointed board member Jim Torrey says he's not surprised by the controversy.
This is Eugene, and people have strong points of view and opinions.
This is the online petition started by the new group 4J Parents for Due Process. It wants the 4J board to do an about-face and rescind the appointment of Torrey.
I do not intend on resigning.
The former Eugene mayor defends the selection process. Torrey adds he understands why opponents to his appointments want the school board to diversify, but he insists he has worked hard to reach out to underrepresented constituents.
And not just of color. Communities where there is not sufficient income for kids, homeless kids. I think that's a false argument.
Jim, with all the ongoing controversy over your appointment, will this hamper the board's ability to do its business going forward?
You know, I really don't think so.
Torrey was defeated for re-election this past May by newcomer Martina Shabram. As of Thursday morning, the signature tally had reached 777 on the online petition. Reporting in Eugene, I'm Tom Adams.
The Eugene Education Association also questioned the appointment of Jim Torrey, saying the board missed a chance to diversify itself. In an email to NBC 16, EEA President Sabrina Gordon added the union will not play a part of any recall effort against Torrey. Every summer, Food for Lane County employs a group of teens to work on their Springfield educational farm. The farm is on 5 acres and produces over 40 crop varieties each year. Students work for minimum wage or intern on the farm and run the produce stands every week from June through October. Food for Lane County says this gives students an opportunity to learn how to farm. The program also provides financial learning courses and life skill building.
We serve as an alternative education site for youth and school groups during the school year. Certainly for our youth program that we hire low-income teens to work with us throughout the summer. That's a big role we play in supporting youth and low-income youth in particular.
Their produce stand is open every Thursday at the Peace Health Riverbend location and on Saturday at their Springfield Farm location through October. Coming up next on NBC 16 at 6:30, the Shed Aquarium in Chicago is showing off some otters. We'll tell you what makes them so special when we return.
Summer isn't long, but summer to-do lists are. Let afford.
Tonight, the Shed Aquarium in Chicago is showing off for the first time 2 otters who were rescued earlier this summer. Meet otter pups number 870 and number 872. They're being trained by staff there at the Shed Aquarium after they were found all alone last month in California. Number 870 was found by some kayakers who thought it was abandoned around the Monterey Bay area. They were just 2 and 3 weeks old and freezing when they were found. Today, at 3 months old, they happily show off their teeth, their toys, and their treats for workers. And they love to play and wrestle around with each other. The pups will eventually move to the otter exhibit, but first trainers must make sure that they can hold their own. The Shed may decide to have them on their popular display, and they even will have a contest to decide what the names will be, because 870 and 872 is kind of bland.
Yeah, aren't ideal. But man, they can do some nice somersaults.
Yes, yes. And thank you for watching NBC 16 News at 6:30.